Hello everyone and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink 11-4 mission launch from West Coast, that is from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Hope you all are doing fine and excited about this record-breaking SpaceX Starlink launch. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Dipta Maitra, performing the commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 15th overall launch and the 14th Falcon 9 launch of this year. Today's launch marks the 5th one from Vandenberg for SpaceX as they continue building their incredible cadence for this year. We are waiting for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:02 p.m. Eastern Time from California for a southeasterly launch for SpaceX Starlink mission. The Starlink mission 11-4 will launch a batch of 22 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit, and today's Starlink mission marks SpaceX's amazing 442nd overall launch. But before moving on behalf of AstroYonder team and our awesome moderators, thank you all for joining us for today's launch. We are so grateful to have you as part of the stream. Really appreciate you being here, and a huge shout out to our amazing YouTube community for the support as we bring you detailed coverage of space launches with all the stats and in-depth insights. Now today's launch will be the 9th dedicated Starlink mission of the year for SpaceX. Prior to today's launch, SpaceX has launched 189 Starlink satellites so far, over 8 flights this year, and the count right now is low at the start of the year, but trust me, it's gonna climb fast. And what I can speculate from the trend, SpaceX will launch over 2000 Starlink satellites this year. It's my personal opinion, but provided no mishaps come in between. Just last year alone, a staggering 1982 Starlink satellites were launched, and as we all know, many hurdles came in between. Still, SpaceX managed to launch such a number of Starlink satellites. So if everything will be nominal this year, they will be crossing the benchmark of at least 2000 Starlink satellites. Now, prior to today's launch, overall 7,821 Starlink satellites have been launched to date, including 440 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites. Now, just a reminder, it's me managing the launch coverages on my own. So if we face any technical issues, please bear with me and be tuned in. I will do my best to guide you through the Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in approximately 38 minutes from now. Would really appreciate it if you guys could join the chat and let us know where you are joining from. Additionally, feel free to share any questions or opinion with us. We're glad to know more about you. Would like to welcome Angry Bird for tuning in, one of our moderator here. Thanks, Angry Bird, for joining us. I know it's late at your place, but not so late. For you, it's like evening kind of. And I hope that you are doing well. Now let's get back to today's mission. So far, reports suggest that the weather is looking good for today's Falcon 9 launch opportunity and the range is ready to support. But anyways, we hope that they are able to launch on time and not have to push too far. But if for some reason launch does not happen today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, that is Sunday, February 2nd, with launch window opening at 2:29 p.m. Pacific time, 5:29 p.m. Eastern time. Now, as of today, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of the Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 3:02 p.m. Pacific time, 6:02 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, February 1st, that is today. Now let's take a look at today's payload details for Starlink uh, Group 11-4 mission. Well, before before we dive into the payload details, just a quick update. Some of you might be knowing, some of you might not. So just wanted to tell you that Starlink direct from satellite to cell phone internet connection has started its beta testing from Jan 27th. Now, which we all know that it aims to eliminate dead zone worldwide. So that's the update. Now, today's launch, as mentioned before, it marks the 9th dedicated Starlink launch for this year. Starlink satellites are built in Redmond, Washington, and today's payload consists of not record-breaking, actually, I'm saying it mistakenly, 22 Starlink mini satellites. Actually, I got confused with the previous one with the 27 launch of Starlink satellites. So today's one is only having 22 Starlink version 2 mini satellites. Each satellite is equipped with 5 advanced Ku-band phased array antennas, 3 dual-band parabolic antennas utilizing Ka and E-band, and a 52.5 square meter dual solar array with a wingspan of 100 feet. The two solar arrays are also aeroneutral, which enable faster on-orbit maneuvers. Also, each satellite is equipped with a high-capacity battery to provide power to the payloads. There also features 3 space laser transponders, also commonly known as optical intersatellite links, and in short, it is known as ISL. So it is used for the intercommunications, which operates at up to 200 Gbps. This optical intersatellite links is now in vogue for every satellite. Also, Starlink satellite make use of argon fluid Hall effect thrusters for in-orbit maneuvering. Today's payload will be placed in an orbit with an altitude of 279 kilometers and with an inclination of 53.16 degrees. Previously, which I was getting confused when SpaceX launched 27 of Starlink satellites, which is the highest as of now. That time they managed the weight to reduce for each Starlink satellites, and in that payload, each satellites were weighing approximately 1,268 pounds, that is 575 kilograms, which is 22% less than the original version 2 mini as of today. Starlink satellites also use custom-built star tracker to find their position, altitude, and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. Each one has 4 reaction wheels for precise attitude control, plus a hot spare setup for reliability. The aluminum flywheel is designed to safely burn at the end of their useful life. Additionally, They have an onboard autonomous collision avoidance system that uses the Department of Defense debris tracking database for avoiding collisions with space junks and other spacecraft autonomously. Now, to understand the importance of this onboard autonomous collision is just I'm providing a context. According to a SpaceX report published previously, where they mentioned that Starlink satellite performs nearly 275 collision avoidance maneuvers each day. And in that course of past 6 months, Starlink satellite performed 50,000 collision avoidance maneuvers. So with that, I guess you can understand the importance of this autonomous collision avoidance system which SpaceX is relying upon. So that's all about the payload for today. Now let's just take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's Starlink 11-4 mission. We know, Angry Bird, you are always here, and thanks for your perpetual support. Although you were working so much, still you managed some time to show up and to show up over here. So you warrant our gratitude towards you. So the booster with tail number 1075 supporting today's mission is quite a mature booster with 16 previous flights in its record, including missions like SDA-0A for Space Development Agency, a United States Space Force Direct Reporting Unit, SARA-2 mission for German Armed Forces, Transporter 11 mission, a SpaceX's rideshare mission which launched 116 satellites, and additionally this booster supported 13 Starlink missions as of now, heading towards its 14th Starlink mission and awaiting its 17th flight just 29 minutes away from now approximately. The last mission supported by today's booster was Starlink 11-3 mission on 28th of December last year. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 35 days. And interestingly, today's mission will be the 17th consecutive launch of this booster from PAD, Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg. Previously, there have been 13 landings on, of course, I Still Love You, and 3 on landing zone 4 for this booster. Also, if you will be paying attention on your screen, you can see that with Starlink 7-6 mission, it launched 22 Starlink satellites, which included 2 classified payloads on this mission identified as USA 350 and USA 351 by the US government. And it is believed that these 2 Starlink satellites are based off the company's Starshell satellite bus derived from Starlink satellite bus. The similar thing, I guess it happened with the recent Starlink 13-1 mission, where actually, well, just let me see it. Yes, so actually in 13-1 mission, it is disclosed that 21 payloads have been launched. But if you will be noticing the orbital data from different websites, And also there is a guy called Lucas on X. Actually, I did saw his post, and from there only I got to know this that they actually launched 23 payloads, not 21. And there also they are having two other satellites known as USA 485 and USA 486. Previously, they were calling it as Object X and Object Y. Later on, they gave a name at least. So that's all about today's booster supporting today's mission. Now let's move on and have a look at the bar graph showing number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before this upcoming launch, SpaceX completed its 13th Falcon 9 launch for this year with the SpainSat NG-1 mission launched from Kennedy Space Center on January 29th. As we all know, SpaceX completed 132 launches of Falcon 9 last year, marking a year with the highest annual launches to date for SpaceX. That is actually 134 in total, and if we will be including the Starship launches, then the number rises to 138. With today's launch of Starlink 11-4 mission, the bar graph depicts 14 Falcon 9 launches for 2025 as SpaceX gears for another year full of record breakers. According to Elon's tweet, possibly we can see around 180 Falcon 9 launches this year. Now, if this stream fuels your love for space, give us a like. It's like fine tuning our trajectory of our YouTube mission. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you won't miss a single launch update. We would be super grateful for your support. Now, please allow us a couple of seconds to check whether the launch is on time or not and to stay updated. Well, it's on time. Now, again, skipping the pre-launch timeline because no substantial difference from any typical Falcon 9 launches. But just one thing, you might be knowing that the strong back reclining process at Vandenberg differs from that at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center. Here at Vandenberg, we recline the strong back 13 degrees away, whereas at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9. So only that's the difference in today's pre-launch timeline, you can say. Let's go ahead and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Starlink mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 4 East from Vandenberg Space Force Base. With the spacecraft on board, the batch of 22 Starlink satellites for a southeast trajectory along the coast of Southern California, heading into a low Earth orbit that is to the 11th shell of the second generation Starlink mega constellation, indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you see indicates where the Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later leaving California's coast. This is going to be a off the land landing using autonomous spaceport droneship, and today it's west coast here, so obviously it will be Of Course I Still Love You, which means the first stage booster with tail number 1075 flying for its 17th time will be returning heading out to the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You for its landing. This will be the 120th landing on Of Course I Still Love You droneship to date, if successful. The estimated booster recovery is approximately 574 kilometers, with estimated fairing recovery approximately 703 kilometers downrange. And the stage 2 debris re-entry will be in the East Pacific. Now, currently, there are 3 in SpaceX droneship fleet, as we all know, anticipating the addition of a 4th droneship. Out of 3, just read the instructions, and a shortfall of gravitas are based in Florida, and another, Of Course I Still Love You, here at California. On your screen are some of the stats for SpaceX's droneship fleet. Right now, we are 14 minutes away from the webcast to begin. Now, let's move on and let's discuss a little bit about the fairing recovery. The two halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 129 kilometers downrange from where the first stage lands on droneship, after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve them from the Pacific waters, and previously with the SpaceX NG-1 mission, I guess one payload fairing half got damaged or something, because mm, the pictures on the X handle of different persons are coming up, showing up that it is having only one fairing half. I guess one got damaged or something, or got lost. So in that mission, we got to have only one payload fairing half to return. Now you can see on a screen how a fairing recovery looks like. Although the recovery vessel on your screen is dark, performing the recovery operations for today's recovery operations, but today's supporting recovery vessel is Go Beyond here at Pacific. Other recovery vessels, Bob, Doug, and Go Cosmos, are currently awaiting for their next assignment. Some more images with some close-ups as well, so that you can have a good idea that how a fairing recovery looks like. Now we will be diving into the stats for today's mission. Before moving on, would like to welcome Fairmaid. Welcome Fairmaid, thanks for tuning in. Fairmaid is one of our moderator here. I did just check before the stream to start that what is the time at your place. I saw it's getting 9:30, I guess, or past 9:30. So it's early at your place, but I am more earlier than you. In earlier means you are ahead of us, but it's 4:14 a.m. here. So early in the morning, I am more. So I meant that. And we hope that Fairmaid, you are doing well. Once again, thanks for tuning in and hope you will be enjoying the stream. Now coming to some stats related to today's mission launch. The launch marks 400 Today's launch marks 442nd SpaceX's overall launch and the ninth dedicated Starlink launch of this year. This is going to be the 429th Falcon 9 launch to date. The 17th flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission, with tail number 1075 being in action after 35 days. So see Fairmade, I'm monitoring 3 time zones. Actually monitoring 4 time zones. 2 for Eastern time, Pacific time, 1 is your time, 1 is my girl's time. So and 5 in which I'm living. 5 time zones I'm monitoring simultaneously. I think I have to have those clocks on my walls, each time zones for, and I was really thinking to have that in, so that I can just look on the wall and to get to know that what is the time instead of searching it online every time. Now let's move on and with our stats. So I just said up to the number of flight of the first stage booster supporting today's mission. Now today's mission marks 14th Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 15th overall launch of 2025. This will be the 374th Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. That is the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. 111th orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East, and the 178th overall orbital launch from this pad. Now, with the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a remarkable 7,843 Starlink satellites, including 440 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. And we all know that SpaceX completed their first constellation of their direct-to-cell satellites as they began the beta testing as well. Now, an upcoming 12-3 mission is coming with the direct-to-cell satellites that will boost this number more to 453 satellites for direct-to-cell. Now, moving on to some reusability statistics. This launch marks 358th Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. This will be the 120th landing on, of course, I Still Love You droneship, 17th landing of the first stage booster with tail number 1075. And with this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX will be having 322nd overall droneship landing, marking 384th Falcon 9 landing to date and a record-breaking 403rd SpaceX's overall landing to date. Now, an upcoming Maxa 3 mission, with the upcoming Maxa 3 mission, SpaceX will be having its 82nd landing to date as well. And that will be happening for the landing zone 1 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Speaking of droneship landings, here are some of the stats for droneship landings prior to today's mission. Okay, it's prior to today's mission, so don't get confused with the numbers on your screen. Now we have a request again, guys, that if you feel like we are adding value to your viewing experience, please consider giving this video a like. It's like fuel for YouTube's algorithm rocket to bring in more space lovers and helping rocket fans to discover this stream and join our amazing community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. Also consider about smashing the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification. We are burning the midnight propellant to bring you detailed streams. As of now, it's 4:30 early in the morning, and I'm providing launch coverages for you guys. So at least this we can ask for you guys. Your support would be totally send us over the moon. Figuratively, of course, we can't. Right now, the Blue Ghost and the Hakuto our mission lunar landers are on their way to moon. So I hope you guys are done with the drone ship landing stats. Now let's just move on and take a look at the key stats for SpaceX launches this year, including today's mission. With today's mission, SpaceX will be having the 15th launch of this year, and out of those, 9 are Starlink missions, including today's one, and 5 were non-Starlink missions for commercial and government organizations. 14 reuse booster with this mission. The geographical distribution of these launches are like they have 9 launches from East Coast, 4 from Launch Complex 39A Kennedy Space Center, and 5 from Space Launch Complex 40, that is from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And on the West Coast, they will be having 5 launches with today's mission, that is from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. As of now, only 1 launch from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas, with the 7th integrated flight test and 1 super heavy booster catch. For landings, they will be nailing it for the 13th time this year with 12 droneship landings. 4 on Of Course I Still Love You, including 1 from today, 3 on Just Read the Instructions, and 5 on A Short Follow-Up Gravitas. For ground landings, 1 as of now on landing zone 4. Now we are just 2 minutes away from the webcast to begin. Prior to today's launch, the success rate for ground landings is 98.78%. For droneship landing, it is 96.69%. And for overall landing success rate, which is 97.10%. Today's mission is the 78th launch since the last mission failure for SpaceX, that is the Starlink 9-3 mission. Now again, these stats are prior to today's launch, and we have 77 successful launches since last mission failure with Starlink 9-3, 61 successful landings since last landing failure with Starlink 8-6, 295 missions with at least 1 reuse fairings, and approximately 558 number of fairing halves have been reused. Moving on to this year's orbital launches, including today's one. With this 122nd orbital launches, United States is leading with 15 launches, followed by China with 6 launches and 1 launch by India, marking their debut for orbital launches this year. And here is a pie chart showing the 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch. I guess it's time for the webcast to begin. While you guys are having a look to this pie chart, let me set up the stream for you guys. Let's move ahead as it's time for the webcast to begin. Adding value to your viewing experience here at AstroYonder is our top priority. If you felt we somewhat achieved that, please consider liking this video and consider subscribing to our channel as we work hard to bring you stream packs with stats, details, and insights. We would be incredibly grateful for your support. Now we are waiting for the webcast to begin. Let's just the webcast to start. I will be patching in the audio feed as well. Right now, I'm not putting the audio feed in because they're playing some music and it can cause some copyright issues with our streams. And once again, we thank all of you joining us today and supporting us. They're stretching this pre-launch music a little longer today.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressurizing for strong back retract.
We are getting some nice visuals, although it's a little foggy out there. Can't see the Falcon 9 properly, but yep, it's there. And we did got the call out that tanks are pressurizing for the strong back retract. During this process, we add a little bit of gas to form up the tanks so that the clamp arms can open with a solid structure holding the Falcon 9. Once open, we start reclining the strong back about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. And right now the process is underway. We did got the call out, although they are zooming in, but we can't see anything. I see heavily foggy there. We are T minus 3 minutes and 35 seconds and counting. All systems are go for an on-time liftoff. Couple of important steps got completed in between. The spacecraft team switched to internal power for a few minutes ago, and the fueling of Falcon 9 first stage is finished, meaning all the RP-1 prop is now on board. We are still loading the liquid oxygen on both the first and second stages. The next event is the completion of LOX load on second stage.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Excuse me, stage 1 LOX load, and we did got the call out. Stage 1 LOX load is complete. We are at T minus 2 minutes 45 seconds and counting. We are now waiting for the second stage completion of LOX load that will finish up at just inside 2 minutes mark. So right now we can a little bit see the Falcon 9. And you can see that how stretched the strong back is now, right? It's like 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9 as I mentioned before. We didn't got any call out for stage 2 LOX load complete. It should be coming up during this time.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
There we go. Stage 2 LOX load is complete. Now all the propellants are on board the Falcon 9 with 1 million pounds of propellant. We are now beginning to vent down the pressure that was in the tubing on the strong back. That's why that white clouds are coming out there, and it's an absolutely normal thing to happen, and rather it's a indicator of launch coming up. Next event at T minus 1 minute, we should hear the call out that the Falcon 9 flight computers are in startup and controlling the rocket for the remainder of the countdown.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Right on time, Falcon 9 flight computers on stage 1 and stage 2 are running the rocket to the last minute of count. So now let's hear the go call out.
Launch directors, go for launch.
This is launch director giving go for the launch. We are coming up on T minus 30 seconds.
T minus 30 seconds.
It's extremely patchy fog there, but
T minus 15 seconds.
that will create a good view for the liftoff.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
T plus 20 seconds into flight. Falcon 9 is on its way with 22 Starlinks into low Earth orbit. We did got some good callouts. Propulsion is nominal. Right now we are what we call into a throttle bucket. We are throttling down the 9 Merlin engines as we prepare for the period of maximum dynamic stress coming up. Another good call out, power and telemetry is nominal, and you can see those clouds back there.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We have exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9. Right now Falcon 9 is faster than the speed of sound as we have gone supersonic.
Max Q.
Max Q call out there. We are through the period of maximum dynamic stress on the vehicle. We have throttled the 9 Merlin engines back up to full power again. Now expecting a call out for the MVAC engine chill prior to its ignition. Today we will be getting some good views, and there we go. So right now we started to chill down the MVAC engine on the second stage prior to its ignition just after stage separation. Coming up 3 events in rapid succession: the shutdown of main engine on first stage, that is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation and ignition of the second stage. MVAC engine that is also known as SES-1, which will boost the payload into the low Earth orbit. So let's hear the callouts.
Main engine cut up.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Awesome views we are getting from both the first stage and second stage. You can see the first stage is falling down, and right now the nitrogen thrusters is now beginning to reorient the first stage, and the flight computers has commanded the hypersonic titanium grid fins to slowly begin deploying. Fairing separation confirmed. We did got the call out. Successful separation of the payload fairing. Good views from both the stages. Right now you are looking a view of the first stage, which continues under the guidance of the grid fins and gravity as it descends back to Earth. It will continue to raise towards its apogee before descending back towards the landing on the drone ship of course I Still Love You, stationed in the Pacific Ocean. Second stage, meanwhile, in the middle of its about 6 minutes of burn, is on its way into the parking orbit, providing us some awesome visuals. During this part of the flight, stage 1 completely relies upon its grid fins for steering as it re-enters into Earth's atmosphere, and these grid fins orient the Falcon 9 during re-entry and guide the rocket during its descent. Right now you are seeing the second stage, but occasionally on the left side of your screen you can see those nitrogen gas bursts from the first stage, which are basically used for attitude control, that is the orientation control. They are used to like position the vehicle as it heads back towards the drone ship. And inside view of the first stage on the left side of your screen. Now the next major milestone coming up will be the stage 1 entry burn. That should happen just about 25 seconds from now. You can see stage 1 how it's reorienting itself, preparing for the entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There is confirmation. We just lit 3 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. You can see on the left hand side of your screen. And we are rapidly slowing down the vehicle as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. And this burn should last just around 28 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there we go. That's confirmation of the shutdown of the entry burn on the first stage. Well, this entry burn do another thing to make the camera view on the first stage to look messy. And we did got the call out, the stage 1 FTS is being saved. Now the next call out we are expecting is stage 1 getting transonic.
Stage one transonic.
There we go.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
And stage 2 FTS has saved, which means that it has achieved its orbital insertion burn. And stage 1 transonic, it means we are slowing down the vehicle slower than the speed of sound as it heads back towards a landing approximately less than 20 seconds from now. And we did got the call out stage 1 landing burn. Center E9 engine now lit. We are slowing down the vehicle rapidly. You can see
Landing leg deployed.
landing legs deployed there.
Stage one landing confirmed.
And there we have it. A successful 384th landing of an orbital class Falcon 9 rocket. Coming up next, we will have the second stage engine cutoff, that is SECO 1, and following that event, we will enter into nearly 46 minutes of course phase as the vehicle ascends to its target orbit. And I guess we have the SECO, we didn't got the call out, although it is evident from the view, and nominal orbit insertion. So these are the callouts we were waiting for. Second stage engine cutoff, SECO 1, as well as the confirmation of good nominal orbit. And about the payload deployment, at T plus 54 minutes and 9 seconds, the second stage MVAC engine will reignite for a short 2 seconds of burn, that is SES2, and turning it off at T plus 54 minutes and 11 seconds, that is SECO 2, which will set up the Starlink satellites deployment at approximately T plus 1 hour, 1 minute and 3 seconds. So that's a wrap for now, and today's launch marks SpaceX's 442nd successful mission, with the landing marking their 403rd success. With that, we will wrap up our coverage for now. Thanks Fairmade for being here and supporting us. Please take care and we will see you next time. Also, I hope Angry Bird you are here. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happening in the space industry and updates on the upcoming launches. The link is on the chat section, or also you can search it on the X app. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and we really appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Wishing you a nice, enjoyable weekend ahead. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me Dipta signing off for now, and we will see you next time.